Namaste, mere pyare bachcho. Welcome back. I know, your exams are just around the corner and you're probably looking for the easiest way to understand all these important chapters, right? Well, today we're going to tackle a super simple but very, very important one, the Constitution and social change. Don't worry, we're going to make it absolutely crystal clear for you.
Okay, let me ask you something, and be honest. When you hear that word Constitution, what's the first thing that pops into your head? A big, heavy, dusty book, right? Just full of difficult rules that you have to somehow mug up for your exams? Yeah, I thought so. I know, it can feel a little bit boring sometimes.
But what if I told you that's completely wrong? The Constitution is so much more than just a rule book. Think of it like a living, breathing thing. Actually, think of it like a superpower. A superpower that we all have to create a fair and just society for every single person in India. It's a tool for real change.
So in this quick explainer, here's what we're going to cover. First, our Constitution's big promise. Then we'll talk about giving power to the village. We'll see how the three-tier system works, hear some really cool real stories, see how democracy actually works on the ground, and finally, why your voice matters. And by the end of this, I promise you, this whole chapter will be completely clear. Pucka promise. All right, let's jump right in. Our Constitution, it's not just about a bunch of laws. Nope. At its very heart, it has this really beautiful and powerful idea. And that idea is social justice.
So, what exactly is social justice? It's actually a super simple idea. It just means that it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what your caste is, what your gender is. None of that matters. Everyone deserves to be treated fairly and have the same opportunities in life. This is the main goal, the number one mission of our Indian Constitution.
Now, to make this big dream of social justice actually happen, our Constitution had this brilliant idea called Panchayati Raj. The main thought behind it is really simple. Why should all the power be stuck in Delhi or in the state capitals? Let's give the power to the people themselves, right where they live, in their own villages, at the grassroots level. But you know what's really interesting? This idea was a huge topic of debate. On one side, you had Mahatma Gandhi and his beautiful dream of Gram Swarajya, village self-rule, where every village is basically its own little republic. But on the other side, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar had a very serious and practical concern. He was worried about what we call elite capture. He knew the reality of our villages, the caste system, and he was afraid that the powerful upper castes would just take over these panchayats and continue to exploit the weaker sections. So you see, this debate went on for decades. In the 1950s, the idea of village panchayats was just a suggestion in the Constitution. It wasn't compulsory at all. It took years and years of discussion to try and balance Gandhiji's dream with Dr. Ambedkar's very real worries. But then, finally, in 1992, something historic happened. The 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act was passed. And just like that, Panchayati Raj became a reality all over India. Okay, so how does this whole Panchayati Raj system actually work on the ground? Well, the 73rd Amendment created a really clear structure. Now, you need to pay close attention here because this is a super important question for your exams. It's a simple three-level system, just like a pyramid. So at the bottom, for the village, you have the Gram Panchayat. Then in the middle, for a group of villages called a block, you have the Panchayat Samiti. And right at the top, for the whole district, is the Zila Parishad. See? Simple. Village, block, and district. And the real superpower of this amendment? It comes from a few key features. First, elections have to happen every 5 years. It's compulsory. Second, there's reservation of seats for SCs and STs to make sure their voices are heard. But the biggest, most revolutionary step was this: 33%. That's 1/3 of all seats were reserved for women. This was an absolute game changer for our country. All right, exam time. Quick one-mark question for you. These come up all the time. The 73rd Amendment guarantees what percentage of seats for women in panchayats. Is it A, B, C, or D? Think about what we just said. Got it? Of course you did. It's C, 33%. See, you're already mastering the key points. Okay, knowing facts like that is great for your exams. But it's so important to remember that these aren't just rules in a book. This amendment had a huge, massive impact on the lives of real people. Let's talk about some of those incredible, real stories of change. Just look at this number. 800,000. 8 lakh. What on earth could this number mean? Well, get this. After the amendment was passed, in just one election cycle, 8 lakh women entered politics at the village level. Can you even imagine the scale of that change? It was nothing short of a silent revolution.
And this change, it went way beyond just numbers. Listen to what Kalavati, a Dalit woman who became a Panchayat member, said. She said, "Before I was only Ramu's mother or Hiralal's wife. Now I have a name." Just think about that. This law didn't just give her a position, it gave her an identity, her own identity. That is the true power of democracy.
And the stories don't stop there. In Uttarakhand, inspired by the famous Chipko movement, women took matters into their own hands. They actually formed their own Van Panchayats, or forest councils, just to protect their local forests from being illegally cut down. It just goes to show you, when people are empowered, they can solve their own problems. So, we've established that panchayats are a fantastic idea. But what do they actually do? What kind of powers do they have? And importantly, are there still challenges? Let's take a look. Okay, so what can a panchayat actually do? Well, they have some really important responsibilities. They can prepare plans for the village's economic development. They can promote schemes for social justice. They can even collect local taxes and fees. And of course, they do things like build roads, wells, and schools. And they keep an eye on government schemes to make sure they're working. They really are the government at the village level. And hey, this isn't just something from your textbook. Look at this newspaper article right here. It shows the government creating software to transfer funds directly to the panchayats. We're talking about using modern technology right now to send money straight to them. This is real-world stuff happening as we speak. But we have to be realistic, right? Dr. Ambedkar's worry about elite capture is still a very real challenge. In many places, powerful upper caste landlords can still try to control the meetings and the money, leaving everyone else as just onlookers. So even though the law is a huge first step, the struggle to change old ways of thinking is still going on. Okay, so this brings us to the most important part of our discussion, the final takeaway. What is the one big thing you need to remember from all of this? It's this. The 73rd Amendment is the tool. The Constitution gave us this amazing superpower. But a tool is useless if no one picks it up and uses it, right? Real change only happens when everyone participates, when we all get involved. So, I'm going to leave you with a question to think about. Now that you know about this constitutional superpower, how can you make sure that the voices of everyone in your own community are heard? It's something to think about, isn't it? All right, all the very best for your exams, my dear students. You are going to do great.